What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode here on Full Throttle. My name is Charlie, and today I'm going to be replacing the idler pulleys on a 350Z. I'm not going to replace the one that's up by the power steering pump. That's like it's an auxiliary. It's a pulley that was meant for a radiator fan. So back when these cars first came out, they were, I think it was early 03, and I don't know if it was the 350Zs. I've never had one with a belt-driven fan before, but I know that the G35s, the very early G35s, came with a belt-driven radiator fan. So I'm not going to replace that one, but I am going to replace the other two for the, there's one for the alternator, and then there's one for the AC compressor. So I'm going to replace those two. These are them right here. One is Dayco. Oh, ACDELCO. So these are both the ones that I bought. I got them on Rock Auto, and I looked at them so far, and one of them is a little bit thicker, which is what it's supposed to be like, and then one is a little bit skinnier. So they look like they'll fit fine, but I'll know when I actually put them on the car. So this is the car, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the hood, and I'm going to start the car, and I'm going to show you guys exactly why I'm going to be replacing these. I'm hoping that it's going to get rid of a little bit of the bearing noise that's coming from the front of the engine. All right, well, I'm hoping you guys can hear what I'm talking about. That's the noise I'm talking about. So what I'm going to be doing is, you can see right down in here, now I'm not going to be replacing that pulley, but what I am going to do is I'm going to replace the other pulleys. I'm going to lift the car, and then I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm going to be doing. That one right there, and then that one right there are the two that I'm going to be replacing. So the one for the alternator and the one for the AC compressor. I'm pretty sure this is either a 12 or a 14, and then same thing down here. They look like 12s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a 12 and a 14, and what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to loosen this bolt here, or nut there, and then I'm going to loosen the nut on this one too. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to relieve the tension on these tensioners and lower it down a little bit. That way I can slip this pulley off, or slip the belt off, and then slip the pulley off. All right, so the bolts on the actual pulley themselves, these ones up here, these are 14s, and the ones on the tensioners are 12s. So I've got a 14 on this, on the socket wrench. All right, that's loose. Now I've got a 12 millimeter on the small impact gun, and I'm just gonna loosen this up. All right, it's loose enough to pull the pulley off. And there's a couple of washers on here. So there goes the nut. Just that. And then you've got like a spacer right here that comes off as well. And I'll show you guys that in a minute. Then the pulley just slides right off. These are the washers, and then the nut, and then here's the old, yeah, you can hear this one. So you can see there's a little bit of a difference here. The pulleys are the same, same diameter, but this one is a little bit different. So I'm gonna put this on here and then see how this works, because this is originally supposed to go here. Maybe I'll just flip it the opposite direction. Yeah, so actually I'm just gonna flip this over. It's supposed to go like this with this little spacer, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reverse it and just put it just like this. And I'm gonna loosen this up a little bit more. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna place this pulley on there, and then I'm going to test it to see if it spins properly. And then I'm gonna replace this little, the thicker washer on here. And I'm just gonna tighten this nut back down. I'm not gonna like tighten it up all the way, but I just wanna see how it feels on here. It actually is good. And it sounds nice and quiet. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna pull this this nut back off, and I'm gonna clean off this little plate on the front, and then I'll throw it back on. So I'm just gonna put this back on, and then I'm going to see how much space I have on the belt, if I have to pull this pulley back down at all, and that way I can get this belt back on. And this one is already done. So it's still good. It's not coming into contact anywhere. So I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. Make sure that the belt is straight on all the pulleys. Now I'm going to tighten this down all the way. I've got is a 14 millimeter. It's just a ratcheting wrench, just to make the job a little bit easier. And then I've got just a small impact gun with a 12 millimeter, just like I used on the other side. And all I'm going to do is loosen this. The only reason why I'm using this 14 millimeter ratcheting wrench is because of the radiator on here. This is a coil radiator, and it's a lot thicker than OEM, and it comes out just enough, so it makes it hard to loosen that with a socket wrench. So I'm just going to use this open end, or this ratcheting wrench. How many times is that going to happen? Now I'm using the 12 on the tensioner. Alright, just like the other one, there should be some washers in here. Alright, some spacers. So I've got, this one is on the outside of the cover. There's the old pulley from this one. This one, yeah, this one doesn't sound too good either. The cover goes over the bearing, and then you have the spacer that goes over top like that. Then you have this this nut on top like this. So this one literally is like exactly the same. All right, awesome. All right, so these are both the other pulleys. This one looks exactly the same as the other one, and everything fits back exactly the way it was when it was on the car. And I'm gonna slide this pulley back on. Whip the belt up. All right, that's good. Then this cover just goes over the bearing. And then the spacer. Then you have the nut that goes on top. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna snug up this belt. Make sure that your belts are all lined up on all the pulleys, the power steering pulley, the alternator, and the crankshaft, of course, or crankshaft pulley. All right, so the torque specs for the idler pulley next to the alternator is 24 to 28 foot-pounds, and the idler pulley next to the AC compressor is 23 to 28 foot-pounds. So they're basically the same, 23, 24 to 28 foot-pounds. To tighten this down to the point where the belt feels pretty tight, then I'm gonna start the car and make sure the belts have like a quiet operation. They don't squeak or squeal, and then I'm gonna come back and readjust if needed. All right, awesome. You guys can hear that it sounds a lot better. I don't know if you can tell any difference in the camera or not, but it does actually sound a lot better. And I'm happy that the belts are all tight. Everything's good to go. All right, so these are all the tools I used. I used a 14mm ratcheting wrench, a socket wrench, a 14mm socket, a 12mm socket, a 6-inch extension, the Makita impact gun. Not really necessary, but I mean, if you want to use it, if you want to use one, then you can. And then those are the two little pulleys, and that's pretty much all I used. All right, guys, so this is pretty much the end of the video. Pretty easy job, not too hard. I'm gonna have the compression arms done. I just bought the bushings, so I'm gonna be doing the compression arms on this car as well. And I'm just gonna push out the old bushings, push in the new ones, because the ball joints are still good. I took a look at everything, and yeah, I'm just gonna replace those. So that video is gonna be coming up soon as well. The Akibano video should be coming up pretty soon as well too, so I wanted to talk about that. I really want to get a dual caliper bracket for the rear, and I want to get, or at least just the dual caliper bracket for the rear, because if I can get the dual caliper bracket for the rear, then I can just throw up both calipers on the rear at the same time, and then I don't have to worry about taking everything back apart when I want to put these new hubs on, because I have pretty much everything to put the hubs together. It's just that I don't have the dual caliper brackets for the rear, and there's not really a point of me doing the Akibano calipers, at least on the rear anyways, unless I have that caliper bracket, so I don't have to take everything back apart in the future. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with those. But yeah, the compression arms should be coming up pretty soon. If you like this video, if it helped you out at all, hit that thumbs up button. It makes me feel good about doing these videos. If you need any parts for 350Zs, G35s, 300ZXs, or G37s, hit my eBay stores. They're all in the description. I sell a lot of used parts. I want to get into new aftermarket parts, but right now all I've got is a lot of used parts. Consider subscribing. I've got a lot of stuff to come, and I'll see you guys in the next video.